Okay, so what if our civilization's future wasn't just about, better tech and faster internet, but about climbing a literal cosmic ladder? Today, we're diving into a really fascinating framework from the Creative Society Project. It lays out this six-level journey for humanity, starting from where we are right now, all the way to becoming stewards of the entire universe. It's a huge vision, so let's get right into it. The source we're looking at today kicks things off with a pretty stark question. Are we stuck? It makes the case that all the crises we're facing, from the environment to global conflicts, they aren't just temporary bumps in the road. They're actually symptoms that our whole civilization has hit a fundamental dead end.
So if we really are at a dead end, what's the way out? Well, according to this source, little fixes and small adjustments just aren't going to cut it. What we need is a total evolutionary leap, a complete transformation away from what it calls the consumerist animal format. In other words, the only way forward is a full-on reset of society itself.
Right, so before we can even think about climbing this ladder, we have to be honest about where we are right now. And from this perspective, we haven't even made it to the first rung. In fact, the source makes this really bold claim that we aren't actually a civilization at all. Not yet. So here's the diagnosis of our world as it stands. It's a system that runs on divide and rule, a world where the strong dominate the weak, and it's all built on burning through finite resources. This, the source argues, is the very definition of a pre-civilized state, and it's exactly why we're stuck in this evolutionary deadlock.
Okay, so if that's the pretty grim starting point, what does the first real step on that ladder actually look like? This is what the source lays out as a genuine Level 1 civilization.
Just getting to Level 1 would be an absolutely monumental shift. I mean, just try to imagine it, a truly unified global society with no rulers, no hierarchies, where every single person has access to a limitless resource they call free energy. It sounds a lot like science fiction, so let's break down what that actually means.
And the requirements for hitting Level 1 are incredibly strict. According to the source, this is an all-or-nothing deal. Humanity has to achieve all three of these conditions: total unification, zero rulers, and access to free energy just to begin the climb. You can't have one without the others.
So what exactly is this free energy? The source is very clear. It is not solar, it is not wind. It's a revolutionary kind of technology that lets you generate energy anywhere you want, whenever you need it. And, this is the crucial part, it has an efficiency greater than 1. That means you get more energy out than you put in, completely breaking our dependence on finite resources.
So, with that foundation of Level 1 finally in place, we can start to climb the cosmic ladder. But, according to this framework, how high we can actually climb depends entirely on what kind of beings we are.
And this is where things get really interesting. The framework splits intelligent life into two types. On one side, you've got us, humanity, described as having a soul, this mix of spiritual and animal nature, and it claims this very duality is what gives us the potential to reach the very top, Level 6. But on the other side, there are beings it calls Apexians, purely rational, soulless beasts who can't get past Level 4 and have to basically harvest energy from others.
Okay, so let's look at those first few rungs on the ladder. Level 1 we've covered, that's planetary unity. Level 2 means we can travel beyond our own solar system, and by Level 3, we're talking about colonizing other planets right here in our galaxy. The scale of a civilization's reach just explodes at each step.
This slide really gets to the core of it, the engine that drives this whole process. According to the source, moving up the ladder is all about energy. Every new level is unlocked by mastering an even purer, more fundamental form of energy, and that power directly translates into how mighty that civilization becomes.
All right, hold on, because now we're moving into the truly cosmic levels. The next few stages describe beings that operate on a universal scale, way, way beyond a single galaxy.
The jump in what's possible here is just staggering. At Level 4, a civilization gets instantaneous intergalactic travel. At Level 5, it becomes what's called an ideal society, completely beyond any material wants or needs. And finally, at Level 6, we get to the Anunnaki, beings who were described as the stewards of the entire universe.
The source describes the Anunnaki as the absolute pinnacle of this whole path. They're what a human race can evolve into, spiritually free beings, no longer totally bound by a material existence. They've reached a state where they can actually change the laws of physics.
So, what do you do when you can change physics? Well, the source uses this great analogy. If the universe is like a giant ship, the Anunnaki aren't the captains or the passengers. They're the crew. They're working behind the scenes to maintain and repair the very fabric of reality. Their job is to be caretakers, not conquerors.
So, we've just been on this wild cosmic journey. But as we get to the very end of this explainer, the source makes its most shocking claim of all, and it's about what this information really is. And here it is. The source just completely flips the script with this direct quote. After laying out this incredible cosmic vision of how civilizations develop, it claims that none of it is science fiction. It's all just banal history.
Okay, so if this is supposedly history, why haven't we heard about it? The source has an answer for that too. It claims this knowledge is being actively suppressed. And why? Because it would threaten the power structures that exist today, like politicians and priests, who would lose all their influence if humanity really knew its true potential. And that brings us full circle, right back to where we are now. Whether you look at this as hidden history, a blueprint for the future, or maybe just a really wild thought experiment, it leaves us with a huge question. If this path is even remotely possible for us, what is the very first step we would need to take to start that climb? Thanks for digging into this with us.